Are you living your life in such a way that the people who know you the best love you the most? That is my favorite win at home question. It is so easy to live in such a way that the people who know us the best respect us the least. We let our hair down. We go crazy at home. We think we can say that. Well, they have to forgive us because we pay the rent, or we pay the mortgage, or they are married to us, or they're our kids. They can't change families. It's so easy to lose it. Welcome to Chasing Greatness, the podcast where we help you win at work, win at home, and win at life. And today we're talking about winning at home here in the middle of the week. You may not be listening in the middle of the week, but I'm telling you today, this is going to be an important topic as we continue our Mother's Day week. It's Mother's Day here this week, and we talked on Monday about this idea of empathy. And we use the golden rule: treat others the way you want to be treated. It's the first thing I remember my mom teaching me, the old words of Jesus. And I think they still apply today. And not just at work. Whole episode on helping you win at work there as you lead change, some of those things. I hope you check that out. But today we're talking about that at home. So thanks for being here with us. We've hit 25,000 downloads this week, all time. And so we've just been doing this for a few months, and now we're there. You've helped us to grow that. I hope you'll continue to subscribe and share and comment. And you guys we're loving talking to you, seeing people at events everywhere the last few weeks. And they're like, hey, I'm listening to the podcast, being very helpful. I had a call last week from a guy in East Tennessee, new friend of mine who called me up, and he said, hey, we're using the podcast stuff that we've been doing on Fridays. We've been these 5 C's of self-leadership. We're using that in our small groups in our church. I'm like, this is crazy. And so all kind of good stuff there. I hope you'll continue to help us grow that. But today, as we think about living in such a way that the people who know us the best love us the most, I think the word empathy that we talked about on Monday, it applies here at home as well. And so how are you doing when it comes to feeling what the people around you are feeling? I'm so guilty of feeling what I'm feeling and not really thinking about what the people around me are feeling, because I'm human, I think is one of the reasons. But the other one, and this is part of being human as well, but I'm selfish. I mean, I just find myself all the time thinking, man, I need to be thinking about what they're thinking about. I need to be feeling what they're feeling. This empathy thing may not be a challenge to you, but it is a challenge to me. I think it's a challenge to all of us. And I would say, I said this actually at the end of the episode on Monday, if you're thinking that you don't have an empathy issue, you really may be the poster child for an empathy issue at that point. But I really do believe all of us have a hard time, what the definition of empathy, understanding and sharing in the feelings of another. Understanding what they're feeling is one thing, but sharing in those feelings, I mean, they're going through this, and we start to try to understand, like, what are they really going through? But then to feel what they're feeling. So if a person around you in your family, let's say, is feeling really sad, maybe they've had something hard, maybe they're feeling grief, maybe they're feeling disoriented because a lot of change is coming their way, maybe they're feeling challenged. Are you aware of what the people around you are feeling? Sometimes we put expectations on our children or on our spouses or on the our extended family, our moms, dads, sons, daughters, whoever you have that are maybe they're grown and gone, and you're continuing to put expectations on people, and they're feeling some of the things they're feeling because of what we're actually doing, how we're acting, the expectations we're putting on them. Sometimes we put conditional love out there on the table, like, I'll love you more if you do this, which sounds crazy when we think about it, but it happens all the time. All of us have felt that in our family situations from time to time, and we've caused that from time to time. And so I really want to challenge you to think about empathy differently, maybe than you ever have. Let's elevate this idea of empathy. And the way I like to think about it in my family is the language I use is let's try to give the people around us the home field advantage. If you're really going to live in such a way that the people who know you the best love you the most, I think if you can give them the home field advantage, which is a baseball term, or I think about it as a baseball term, because in a baseball game, the home field advantage, it's one thing to have a football game, the home field advantage really you get to wear the home uniforms and you get to have more fans in the stands. And that is tremendous advantage in a football game, but in a baseball game, the home field advantage is a little bit different. All those things are true about the uniforms and the fans, but you get to bat last in the baseball game if you are the home team. And I think this might be really good for some of us to think about, what would it look like for us to give our sons or our daughters or our husbands or our wives, the person in the conversation, what would it look like to give them the opportunity to bat last in the relationship? In other words, you're positioning them to win. It's part of chasing greatness, right? We want to be great, but if you really want to be great, you help the people around you win. You help them score. You help them be winners. And I just think there's a gap there many times when we start thinking about, our kids. We put these expectations on them, and we're gonna make sure that we train them to do what live up to their potential, and yet we're not living up to our potential half the time. Or we're gonna fix them if they get messed up, and we're messed up all the time, and nobody's trying to fix us. And it's just stifling in a relationship when a person has a lack of empathy. They don't understand what the other person is going through, and they wouldn't even consider sharing in what the other person is going through if they don't understand it. So those things can't be true if we're not careful. And the next thing you know, we're wondering why there's distance, there's a lack of intimacy, there's a lack of closeness, there's a lack of trust. All those things begin to happen at home when we have that. So I've got some questions here. I think will help us to think about this level of empathy. And I'm going to talk about these questions a little more on Friday. We're going to talk about connections and the importance of those. But who in your family can you encourage today? Who in your family right now needs courage? And what is it that they're going through that's caused them to be discouraged maybe, or have a lack of courage? What is that challenge that looks daunting? And rather than telling them to suck it up or man up or toughen up, what would happen if we began to feel what they're feeling, and we really tried to walk in their shoes for a moment, and we considered maybe a place in our own lives where we feel challenged, where we don't feel like we can overcome, we feel afraid, we feel fear, some of the things they might be feeling, and we really begin to get shoulder to shoulder with the people who matter most to us, and we put some courage into them. We could encourage them. Is there somebody in your family today that maybe you've been taking for granted, and you've not really appreciated the way you could? And maybe one of the things they're feeling is undervalued or underappreciated or undercelebrated, however you want to say that. And your words of thank you today could be huge. So who in your family do you need to thank? Who do you need to it would be really encouraging if you could validate them and say, hey, I see what you're doing, and I know I would not. I know you may feel underappreciated here, but let me look you in the face and say, I really do appreciate what you're doing. It means so much. And if you say that in a heartfelt way, and you really do begin to value their actions and what they're doing, I think that can be tremendous encouragement to them. And then I like another question here, and we'll talk more about this on Friday with this idea of connections. But who can you help today? Who can you help? And I don't know what that would look like, but if I had somebody in my family that is around me, that all of them are going to need help. I mean, every single person. If I'll sit here and think about all the people around my circle, and they don't even all live in my home anymore, but all the people in my family right now need help, just like I need help. All of us need help. And I think when we begin to look at person by person, what does your 7th grade son need? What does your wife who you've been married to for less than 5 years need? What does your husband that you've been married to for a really long time, what does he need? What does your spouse who's got a really challenging boss that they work for? Or what is your spouse who's going for a promotion and they didn't get it? And what are the people, what is your 11th grade daughter who's going through, what are we at the end of the school year here? We've got AP exams coming up for some of them, and they're trying to get into a college, and they're feeling all the stress. Just begin to think about, what are the people around my circle thinking about? What are they feeling? And as I begin to understand that, and if I can share in that, how amazing could your family be if everybody around the table really had this level of empathy for each other? And I think the words that we talked about Jesus on Monday, the do for others what you would have them do for you, the treat others the way you want to be treated, the old golden rule. I would use some words today to help us that that Paul, the Apostle Paul, who wrote half of the New Testament, if you're a Bible reader, I love to read the Bible, and Paul wrote about half the New Testament, and he wrote these words. In a letter he wrote to the Philippian church. The words were about Jesus. He says, have this attitude in yourself, which was in Jesus. The same, I try to model my life after the way Jesus would treat people, and man, it falls so short. But these words are very helpful when I think about them. Paul said this, he said, have this attitude, the same attitude Jesus had, consider others as more important than yourself. That is the empathy verse, if there ever is one, to consider others as more important than yourself. And when you begin to think about what other people are thinking about, what they're feeling, and you try to not only understand that, but share in that, oh my goodness, you become a person in a family who the people who know you the best, they will begin to go, man, I really love living with her. I really love being sisters with her. I really love being this guy's brother or this person's spouse. And so I don't know about you, but I got room to grow here. I'm trying to focus on these things, and I hope that it'll be an encouragement to you. So if you've got anything going on in your family that is not like it ought to be, it could be that we need to look ourselves in the mirror and go, you know what, I could have a little more empathy here, and level our empathy up like we talked about on Monday. If you're the person who believes that you're empathetic, you really are the person who needs to get in front of the line and say, I need to be more empathetic. All of us, every single person listening, we need to be more empathetic. We need to understand what the people around us are feeling. I think if we do that, we add more value. We become a better husband, father, son, daughter, whatever your situation in your family is. We really do become a person that other people go, I love being in the family with this man or woman or boy or girl. I mean, how cool would that be? So that's my encouragement to you today. Let's keep chasing greatness. We can do that in our family life just like we can in our work life. Empathy is our word for the week. And we're gonna continue to work on that. So, all right, I'll talk to you guys on Friday. Love you guys. Keep doing what you're doing. Hit that share button. Encourage somebody else. This will mean a lot to somebody right now who's struggling a little bit, and or maybe they're doing great and they just need to be continually encouraged. I want to ask you if you would just to share with a couple people here before you go today. Leave those comments, questions, anything you have. We'll continue to put content out here that will hopefully be helpful to you. And we'll talk on Friday about winning at life. One more C that we're going to give you this week. I actually have a couple more. We'll give you a new one on Friday. We're going to talk about connections. It's going to be a great episode, and I hope you'll join us for that. All right, talk to you later.